Today, it's all about the WIPs. Hi, my name is A.K.A. and welcome to my channel, Flourish, Faith, and Fiber. And this is Flourish Creatively podcast number 28. And I am so thankful and grateful to have you all here watching this video as I update you about the things that are going on in my crafting journey, and also in faith to join me at the end for a short Bible study. So welcome to everybody. All the places that you can find me are in the description box below. I do have a Facebook page, just where I update maybe, I do put on my Monday devotions, which are just short videos. I do several times. I try to consistently put up the link to the videos that I download, whether that is these podcasts or the Bougie Crochet Wearables series that I'm doing. I try to put that up on the Facebook page. It is not a group, but you can kind of keep updated through that. So on Instagram, I try to remember to put up some of the projects that I have made. I usually put them up on my personal Instagram, but try to remember to do both. But I also do a lot of sharing of things, people that I follow, inspirational quotes or Bible verses that I put on that channel and Instagram as well. And then I have a Ravelry page as well, and that is linked also in the description box below. Well, okay, that is it. Let's get to, I actually have one finished project. All right, my finished project has to do with Cassandra at Craftably Ever After, her hashtag Amigurumi World Tour 2024. She is sending around a book, and this is the book. It is called Whimsical Stitches by Lauren Espy, and she's sending that around the United States because there were so many that wanted to receive the book, and she's sending a second book around the world. And as each person who gets the book chooses a project from the book, an amigurumi, then everyone else who is not getting the book, or even people that are still getting the book, they just maybe have already received it, haven't received it yet. Anyway, they can make the project, and Cassandra is putting together a journal, a photo journal of everybody's makes. Well, I had a real exciting day on Tuesday, and that is that Mary, A.K.A. Mercy Triumphs, and I got together. We live fairly close to each other, within, I think, 30 minutes of each other. So we met up at a coffee shop, and because we are both participating in the hashtag Amigurumi World Tour 2024, we thought we would do a project that had two parts to it. And because we were meeting at a coffee shop, we decided to do the coffee cup and donut. So I made the coffee cup, she made the donut. We met together, had coffee, and we also visited a yarn shop, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. So I'm going to show you my finished coffee cup. I'll put a picture of the coffee cup and the donut up as well when I'm finished showing you this. But I will not be sending the photo of the coffee cup or the coffee cup and donut to Cassandra until someone, probably in the U.S., that the book that's going through the U.S., when they choose that project. But I do want to show it because it is a finished object, and in my crazy life of living out of suitcases, possibly finding a house, moving, when somebody actually does choose that project, I may not know where the coffee cup is. So I want to show it to you since it is a finished object. And this is my coffee cup. So like the project and the book, I did use pink yarn, brown for the top, for the coffee part. It is, the pink is I Love This Cotton by Hobby Lobby, and the brown is Crafter's Secret. I also bought it at Hobby Lobby. Now, in the book, the coffee cup did have safety eyes and a mouth. It had a face. But I did not want to put the face on it, so I embroidered, and I just used some scrap cotton yarn that I had from South Africa. It was a South Africa brand by Elle. And I just used it to put some little flowers on, practice my lazy daisy embroidery stitches and French knots. And so, yeah, so that is my coffee cup. With DK weight yarn, I've always used a 3mm hook, but I think the pattern called for a bigger hook. Hang on, let me see what size. So it called for a 4.25mm hook. Well, in my set, I use tulip crochet hooks, and they only go from whole numbers and half. So 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5. Since it called for a 4.25, I rounded it down and used a 4mm hook because this is for weight or worsted weight cotton. But that is my cup, and I'm very excited about it. I love coffee, so when we talked about who would do what part of the project, I said, please let me do the coffee cup. I had already done a donut before from another pattern, not from the Whimsical Stitches book, but from another pattern, and I have to say that I really like the donut that was in the Whimsical Stitches book. So here is a picture of both the coffee cup and the donut, and I love the way the frosting is done on the donut. The one donut I did, it was half of the donut was the frosting and the other half was the cake part, the dough part of the donut. But I really like how this pattern, you create the frosting, sew it on, and I think it looks really yummy. So yeah, anyway, we had a great time. So that is my one finished object. So let's get to all those WIPs that I was talking about earlier. All right, as I go through my WIPs, if you see me, I noticed in my previous podcast, I was kind of looking off to the side. It is because I have my notes over here and I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So my first WIP is, I'm still working on the Zerzura shawl, Reggie at J Hook Crochet. It is her original design. She sells many of her patterns on her Etsy shop, or in her Etsy shop, and I will have all of that linked below. I am not sure how much progress. I think I really only did between the video that I put out Tuesday morning early this week and the one that is coming out now. I really haven't gotten too far on it. Yeah, as you can see, I think I've got a row and a little bit. So this is the stitch marker where I was, and I finished that row and started on the next row. So really not very far, but it is coming along beautiful. I still love working with the yarn. The yarn is Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek DK, but it really is actually a 2-weight yarn. It falls in according to the standardized charts that are out there, or chart. It really is a 2-weight or a sport weight yarn. Really like it. It calls for a 4mm hook, and I'm using a 3.5. I did go down half a hook size. This colorway is called Pretty in Peacock, and it actually is beautiful. So, still working on that. I have till August 31st. That was kind of her deadline. It is a summer collab that she has several people making some of her other patterns. And so check out her Etsy shop. She gave me the hashtag Zurzura Shawl, and you'll see that in the description box below. If you see a pattern that you like, I think if you search on hashtag and the name of that pattern, then you might be able to find someone making it, and you can watch their videos. Now, I don't know that everybody is making, or somebody is making all of her patterns, but yeah, if you see something in her Etsy shop, try searching on the hashtag for the name of that design and see if someone is making it. I haven't tried that, so I think I will go and try it. She's got some beautiful patterns out there, and I would definitely highly recommend you checking out her Etsy shop and seeing some of her beautiful patterns. And if there's something that catches your eye, try it out. All right, the next WIP. I am still working on baby booties. And as I mentioned, I am also joining in a crochet along, a make along that's going on for the whole year. That Lisa at Happy to Hook Creations. My last podcast, I said it wrong. It's Happy to Hook Creations, that she started in January. She's taking a greeting card from all her greeting cards that she has received over the years. I don't know of how many years, but ones that she has kept. And she is just pulling one out, and whatever is on the card, you can crochet a design that has to do with what's on the card or the colors that are in the design of that greeting card. And her greeting card for this month, for July, is one that I'll put a picture up. It is all dogs, and I love dogs. In a pretty blue sky, there's a butterfly and a lot of different colors that from browns, different shades of browns, to black, to the blue sky, the white fluffy clouds, and the color of the butterfly. And so my idea was to combine that crochet along with making baby booties. So my idea is to crochet a boot, or a pair of booties, that I can put a dog's face on. So while I was at Hobby Lobby, I decided to buy some yarn that would go along with it. So down in the bottom corner of the card, there's this real pretty lavender lilac color. So I bought this color. I think if I hold it back, you actually can see the color a lot better. And it is just Yarn Bee, Baby Bee, and this is Sweet Delight, and this is called Sugar Plum is the colorway of that one, to kind of bring out that little bit of purple at the bottom of the card. And then the blue sky, I bought this colorway, still Hobby Lobby yarn, or Baby Bee, and this colorway is called Teal 2, T-O-O, not the number 2. And so my idea is to make the booties out of these two colors, and then I do have the white. Oh, and by the way, this is a 3 weight or DK weight yarn, and the white that I used in the other baby booties is also DK weight that I brought from scrap yarn that I brought from South Africa. So I think it will work very nicely together. So I bought this brown. Now when I go too close to the window, it really fades it out. So this is the real color of that yarn. This colorway is called Teddy, like a teddy bear, but I think it will work great for a dog. I have some scrap black yarn that I'll use and the white for like the muzzle, the nose, but we'll see how that goes. I found a pattern for the baby booties that's like, it's more like a shoe, and then I plan on making the face of the dog and attaching it so that it covers the foot and helps hold the shoe on a little bit better. We'll also plan to make other baby booties, maybe use some of the colors like I did with the previous project where I can combine the gray and the white, made the sole and the first round on the side with the white, and then changed and then did the trim in white. So the purple and the blue I think will be really pretty in that kind of design as well. And then we'll get baby booties off to Kim at Yarning for a Smile. She is collecting them for a charity. She kind of finished that make-along, but I am planning on sending her a few more since I wasn't able to while I was living in South Africa. So that is, yes, my second WIP. My third is I am going to continue making some washcloths using the even moss stitch. Now I use the even moss stitch in the coasters that I made, that I will put a link to the recent last podcast up here, and I plan on doing that. But I also would like to, and I just recently purchased from Hobby Lobby, because that's the shop that's close to me, is Hobby Lobby. There's no Michael's or Joann's that's close to me. There is a Walmart, but I purchased these. They were, wow, I think $1.75, $1.50, something like that a piece. And so I gave away the Tunisian crochet hooks that I had in South Africa, but I may try to make some Tunisian crochet washcloths. I plan on leaving a couple of washcloths here in the house we're staying in and taking a few with me. So I will be using Kobu, that is DK weight, and it is 51% cotton, 49% bamboo. I have white. I have this color that is called lichen. Interesting. There you go. And I have the color that you've been seeing quite a lot. That is called steel blue. And so I will be using those. And then I also, when I was in South Africa, brought some of this yarn back. I bought it while I was visiting the States, but brought it back to South Africa. And while I was there, I knit the moss stitch washcloths out of this and absolutely love this as a washcloth and a knitted one. I love this cotton, and it is monkey red, because on the inside of the label, they give you a pattern for this sock monkey. But I make washcloths. It is extremely soft. It holds up really well when it gets wet. And like I said, I love the knitted moss stitch. But I may try also to use the even moss stitch and see how a washcloth holds up in water with this as well. I think with the Kobu it will hold up very nicely, and but all that to experiment with this. So making more washcloths. I haven't started any since I finished those coasters, but getting them on my hook or hooks and needles really quickly. All right, my last WIP is while I was with Mary, we went to a yarn shop. She took me to one of her local yarn shops and I bought yarn. So that's part of the acquisitions that I will show you. But one of the yarns that I did buy, I have cast on a hat. And this is the yarn that I am using. I'll give you the details. It is by Malabrigo. It is Rosa Linda Chunky. It is 100 grams, 104 yards, 95 meters, and it calls for a 6 to 8 millimeter hook. It is 100% merino wool. So there's the label, Malabrigo, and here is the yarn. I did get this one hand wound and caked up, and I love it. It is so pretty. The orange, the pink, the yellow, the green, the purple, blue, so many gorgeous colors in there. And I love it. And this is how far I've gotten. Let me show you the front side. So far, I'm doing a 3x1 knit purl ribbing, and this is a pattern by Ross, the Smell Great guy, Smells Like Yarn. Put a link to his channel. It is his Ross hat pattern, which is free. If you search for Ross hat, you will see he does a tutorial and he will link to the pattern. And he does the pattern in 4 different yarn weight sizes. He does, I know there's fingering, DK, 4 worsted weight, and then chunky. And so, yeah, so I have cast that on and very excited about getting that hat done. All right, fuzz is floating around everywhere. So upcoming plans. Summer sock camp with the crazy sock lady is still going on, and I have been wanting to learn and get really good practice changing color in knitted socks. And so I picked out a yarn from my Yarnable subscription for the main color and been looking to add another color in. So I want to show you those plans because I am going to wind up the yarn. Again, I mentioned in my last podcast, if you know of a good yarn ball winder, I am open to suggestions. Please put it in the comments below. Would love to know if any of you have found one that you really do like, because I spent some money on one and hated it. And so really want to find one that works well, that I like. Hand winding is okay, but it would be nice as I continue to do socks, because then I have a tendency to go, oh, I don't want to hand wind, because as I mentioned before, you do have to find a chunk of time to get it done, because it's not something, because the yarn gets in hanks when you undo them, gets so tangled, you cannot put it aside. So, all that said, let me show you the yarn that I am going to use. So this is the yarn I'm going to use. It is called Pollen Party, and this is it with all the little speckles, this pretty blue color. Now some of the speckles are green. They kind of get blown out and look lime greenish. There's also some darker green in there. So the contrasting color for the cuff at least and the toe, I'm pretty sure, and I may try to change for the heel flap and heel turn, or is this color. This color is called Mossy Hollow. Let me hold it back so you can see the true color, but it's really pretty. All the different shades of green that are in it. So I think it will make a really nice contrast color. So both of these are from my Yarnable subscription, and it is from Hypnotic Yarns, and it is her plush sock with 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. So yeah, I think this will make a pretty sock, and I'm gonna wind those up and get them cast on very soon, very soon. All right. So obviously I need to get some washcloths started and wind up and get those sock yarns on the needles. But I still plan on doing some other things as well. I will continue with the Whimsical Stitches book. I may not, oh, and the hashtag Amigurumi World Tour 2024 make along, but I may not do everything. We'll see how that goes, because as you can see, so many WIPs and plans that I may not have time to put a lot of effort into some of the projects. Hashtag hooking up with books. We have a new book that we are reading. It started on the 15th. So check out Cassandra at Craftably Ever After and Caroline at Caroline for the Love of Crochet. You can catch their videos on last 2 months' book and all the projects that were made. They just put it up on the 15th, and find out about the new book. But I can tell you, it is the book All the Light We Cannot See. Here is a photo of the cover. And we are starting it. We have 2 months, so till September 15th, to read the book and do a project from the book that is inspired by the book, by the cover of the book. I don't know if it's a video, but if any of the books are ever a movie or a series, you can watch them. You don't necessarily have to read the book. So come join us for hashtag hooking up with books. I will be working on getting the book read, and so I can come up with a project that I want to make for it. I got the yarn for the Summer Breeze top. I ordered it from Knit Picks, and it came in yesterday. So excited. And here is the color that I will be using. It is Knit Picks yarn, which is We Crochet, and it's called Shine. It is 60% Pima cotton and 40% modal, which comes from, it's like viscose, it comes from beech wood fiber. So kobu is, the boo is bamboo, and this viscose or modal comes from beech wood. And so yeah, so that's the color. There you go. And here is the label. It is the color, I don't know if you could see it, Wisteria. And it is a sport weight, right on the label, sport weight yarn. So I look forward to casting that on. I'll be looking for the next Bougie Crochet Wearable podcast. series episode, what I think I call it episode. It will be coming out soon, but I want to get my gauge swatch done so that I can give more detail about the size that I will be making, the hook size, all of that information. So be looking for the next video in that series. Heather at Strings and Threads asked if anybody wanted to make one of her projects from her latest updated book. So she put out a book of patterns. She called them dice bags. Now she has updated it, added a few more patterns in there, and is renaming it Drawstring bag. So she asked, is there anybody that would like to make a project from the book and then show it on their channel? So I volunteered. She did not send the book. She sent a PDF with all her patterns. And so there's 3 that have caught my eye, and I do plan on making maybe all 3, but at least one of those, and talk about that. And so you will know kind of an idea about her book. She sells it on Amazon, and I will put a link to that her book at Amazon in the description box below, so you can check out her book, but be looking for some updates as I make the projects that are in the book. I also think that they would be great Christmas gifts. And K&K and Kristen at K&K Crochet are doing Christmas Extravaganza 2024 this month. And I'm thinking that this project would make a great Christmas gift. So be on the lookout, because I may talk about that as well when I talk about Heather's drawstring bag design that I'm picking. I'm not telling you which one I'm picking or which of the 3 that have caught my eye. You'll have to come back and watch the next podcast. So after I finish the hat, which hopefully won't take very long, I am going to cast on the sweater. The sweater that I purchased for $15. I didn't think that was bad at all for a course on how to knit your first sweater by Chandy at Expression Fiber Arts. And all that information will be in the description box, but I do plan on casting on that sweater. So let's get to acquisitions. All right, while I was with Mary, I did do some shopping at a local yarn shop, but I realized I never talked about the yarn I purchased when we were in Alaska on our Alaskan cruise. At one of the stops that we made, I did go into a yarn shop. Now, there were yarn shops at all 3 of the locations that we stopped at, but I ended up going to one particular one, just one location. And funny enough, one of the other cruise ships that we ran into a couple of times, they were actually having a knitting cruise, because when I was in the shop and checking out, they asked, are you part of the knitting cruise? I was like, no, I wish I had known. But it was great fun being with my husband on the cruise. I wouldn't trade that at all. And he very sweetly went and I was going to say he went in the yarn shop. He didn't go in the yarn shop, but he waited for me while I looked around the yarn shop. So let me show you first what I got from my cruise when we were in Alaska. I love buying yarn from local hand dyers. And so this is the Alaskan Yarn Company. And they are from Homer, Alaska. So I bought this, put this one down. I bought this lovely, isn't that amazing? Wow, lovely yarn. And it is 85% merino superwashed wool, 15%, it says Donegal Nep. If anybody knows, right there, what Donegal Nep is, please let me know. And then of course you can see it's a 100-gram ball, 3.5 ounces, 231 yards. It is a tweed, so you can see all the little tweedy bits that is in there. And it calls, which I don't know what this means. It calls for a US 5 to 7 needle, but I was told that that means it's DK. But you can let me know, correct me if that is not right. So I love the color, the colorway. Does it have a name? Pine Boughs is the name of this lovely colorway. So excited to do this. Probably will be a hat with this one. The other one is, this is the label. It is called One of a Kind Alaska. This is sock weight yarn. It is 80% superwash merino or merino and 20% nylon. And 100 grams, 400 yards. And this, isn't that amazing? Love it. That teal and that green go so well together. And then obviously with the little flecks of pink in there and blue, just deeper shades of teal. So this is from a company in Juneau, Alaska. And trying to see if it has a colorway name. Changing Tides. That's actually the colorway. At first I thought it was the company, but the company is One of a Kind. So Changing Tides is the name of this yarn. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. So those were the two that I purchased while we were in Alaska. Now let's get to Tennessee. What did I get with Mary? Well, first of all, I want to talk about the yarn shop. It was called the House of Yarns, and in this picture you can see Mary had on a lovely shawl that she had made and a hat, a beret that she was wearing. I didn't wear anything crocheted because I basically have two tops and that are out of a suitcase and were needing to be washed, and all the rest are packed in a suitcase somewhere. Oh, and the cardigan that I showed in last podcast still had ends that needed to be woven in. So I did not wear any crocheted knitted items, but she had that lovely shawl on. And the shop was beautiful. It was so big. There, as we entered, there was yarn on either side. And then there were two rooms full of yarn. One side had different yarns, a table where I'm sure they have maybe classes or things that go on there. And loads of yarn, amigurumis hanging up. And then on the opposite side of the entrance, there was another room full of yarn. And in fact, that side had yarn from local dyers from Tennessee, from Nashville. The owner of the shop told me that she actually only carries yarn dyed from dyers that are in her county, so basically in Nashville. And so that's what I bought. So let me show you what I got. So Mary, when she was shopping, she wanted to get some worsted weight, 4-weight yarn for a project she was working on. You can catch, which I will link below, you can catch a video from her that will talk all about what she is making. Please check out her channel. She is passionate about crochet. She is very thoughtful about crochet as a craft, and is so encouraging, and yeah, is really, you just need to watch her videos. They're great. So my goal was to buy yarn dyed by someone from Tennessee. Love that it was from the Nashville area. So the first one I got is Camilla Fiber Co. And I'm sure you can see all the fuzz. Beautiful color of yarn. It is called CFC Surrey Lace, and it is 74% baby Surrey alpaca, 26% mulberry silk, and it is 328 yards or 300 meters, 50 grams, and it is a 2-ply yarn. This colorway is called Evergreen. Very interesting. It reminds me of blue spruce trees that have that kind of bluish teal hint to it. And as you may know, if you've seen the Bougie Crochet wearables, I do have a hard time wearing wool around my neck. I can wear it on my feet as socks, and I can wear it on my head. The last Bougie, or my first Bougie Crochet wearable was with wool yarn, but it was a loose, lacy, big top, not long sleeved, and it does not itch me. I can feel it a little bit, but it doesn't itch me. And so, yeah, so this is, I look forward to doing something really fun with this. I'm thinking that I want to do some kind of cowl or scarf and see if I can wear alpaca. Is it more about the lanolin and wool, or is it just more about the itch factor? I don't know, but I'm gonna try alpaca. So I thought that was beautiful, and for alpaca, fairly affordable if you know the price of hand-dyed yarns. So the other thing is, as I mentioned, making socks, is that I want to start changing color in socks. So this company, the Old Rusted Chair, hand-dyed yarns. Cute name, cute label. It is the sock mini. It is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And she had, and I say she, the yarn dyer had large skeins, but a couple of rows of these mini skeins, and I don't have very many mini skeins. So I thought, wow, I will, and I don't have solid. In fact, I think I have one mini skein that's variegated, and I really wanted to get some solid. So I picked this color, is called Spellbound, and let me hold it back here so you can see it. I gave you a glimpse, a sneak peek of the others. I picked out orange because my husband loves orange. This colorway is called Feisty. Love that. And picked that one out because he loves orange. So I thought, why not the next pair of socks give him a pop of orange in his socks. And I picked out gray just because I'm thinking a lot of the yarn I have from Yarnable is very bright yarn, so maybe tone it down a little with a gray. Gray is a great neutral color. It is actually called Overcast. So I thought that was beautiful. And yeah, so comes from the Old rusted, where's the label? Oh, this label's covered up. The old rusted chair. There you go. And 4. So I said 4 is what I can possibly afford to buy. And so I just couldn't decide on the 4th color. So I asked Mary, you can see her in the picture, picking out the 4th skein of, or mini skein of yarn. And there is string. This is the colorway she picked out. She actually said, I really like green as added color. There again is the label. She said, I like green. There were a couple of shades that she picked out, and we decided on this one. This one is called 3 Mile Loop. I don't know what that means and why that. I'll have to do some Tennessee research and figure out why that is called 3 Mile Loop, if it has something to do with Tennessee, which I'm assuming it does. But anyway, so I dropped one. Hang on, let me show you all 4 together. So those are all 4 of the mini skeins that I bought. Let me just hang them. There you go, side by side. So very excited about those and using those and really becoming hopefully proficient at changing yarn color within socks and within other projects as well. So that is it for the fiber content. Thank you for hanging out this long with me. Would love for you to hang out even longer as we move into Bible study. So this Bible study, this portion is just going to be almost like a devotion. I've been reading through the Old Testament for a couple of years, have made it to the book of Judges, and I just want to share a little bit of what God said, what I noticed, what stood out for me in the story of Gideon, and just some questions that I have been pondering and want to throw out to you all. So let me open up and read to you just the very short passage from Judges chapter 7, and it is verses 2. Actually, it's only verse 2. So Gideon has thrown out the fleece. Many people know that story. It's very common to have it in vacation Bible schools, Sunday school classes. Children learn about Gideon putting out fleece to, I was going to say, not really to test the Lord, but he was scared. He was a weak man. He did not have a lot of confidence in himself, his family, his tribe even, and he just really wanted to know if God was with him. And so this comes right after that. Another fairly common story with Gideon is how God chooses the men that were going to go and fight with Gideon. And he chooses them based on how they drink water from a lake or stream or well. But this is what God says right before that test, in a sense, of his men. Verse 2, chapter 7. The Lord said to Gideon, you have too many troops for me to hand the Midianites over to them, or else Israel might elevate themselves over me and say, my own strength saved me. That verse stood out for me, that God would tell Gideon, you got too many men. And if you know the story, he actually, 22,000 go home. I think 11,000 stay after the drinking water. No, I take that back. He just told people, if you're scared, go home. 22,000 went home. After the drinking water test, 200 remained. And I got to pondering and just thinking about going back through life. When have my circumstances changed so that God would get the glory and I wouldn't say I depended on my own strength? I did it. And just as I was pondering that, you know, and even pondering now, is there situations where I am praying and trying to trust God because victory will really only come through him? I think sickness is a good example. I know that some family members are going through a time where they're facing sickness, or I have a family member whose daughter is sick. So when you're facing the sickness of a child and just what all that involves, not only physically getting the child to doctors and dealing at home with her illness, but also just emotionally and mentally draining, and then having to still be mom to the other children, wife, she has a job, all of that. I think sickness is a way that God says, trust me, I'm in this, and trust my presence is with you. But in my own life, I haven't faced that. So where has God really changed some things so that I have to trust in him? And I would just ask or put that question out for you to ask yourself as well. And then I was watching Jen Wilkins, if you know her. She's an amazing Bible study writer. She is passionate about teaching women how to do Bible study, and she puts Bible studies out herself. She's a great speaker. She was doing an Instagram live, and she has just put out a Bible study on Revelation. A lady was asking her questions, and they were talking about the Bible study. And she was talking about a lot of people read Revelation hoping that God will give them maybe a timeline or insight into the future when he is returning. And that's not why we should be reading, or the main reason why we should be reading Revelation. Yes, we want to be prepared for the return of Jesus. We want to long for him to come back and make all things right. But a lot of reasons, so Jen said, a lot of reason God doesn't tell us the future is, first of all, can we handle what he's going to tell us? But also is that sometimes we want to know the future so we can be in control. And she used that word control. And I got to thinking about Gideon and that story as well. Is that, yes, God said, you have too many troops. You have too many men, I should say, fighting. Your troops are too big. Because Israel's going to say, ooh, we did it in our own strength. But also because maybe it gave Gideon and the Israelites a sense of control. So brought around that question to, are there circumstances that God has changed or put in my life where I have no control and I have to trust in him? And what is that? And just pray into trusting God. I know now one of the situations is actually looking for a house and figuring out if we can afford a house, if we can afford house payments, much less down payments. You know, it's like, what can we afford as a monthly payment? What does that mean for the houses that are available? in our list of wants or even needs. And that I have to put that. I don't have control over the interest rates. I don't have control over the political situation that might influence interest rates. I don't have control over the houses that are available for sale here, the cost of housing here. I have to trust God with that search and with our finances. And so, yeah, just another question to ponder is circumstances in your life, circumstances changing, so God gets the glory. Our trust is in Him, and because we don't have control. And I'm pondering that, and again, just throwing it out there. Hopefully this is something that will encourage you to really pray and put your trust in God. Go to His Word. Find scripture that will encourage your hearts. I still go to Psalm 138, verse 3, that says, when I call on you, you answer me and strengthen me. God strengthened Gideon at other times. With the fleece, He strengthened Gideon by letting him go and sneak up on the Midianite camp and hear of another man's dream and telling it to another soldier who said, oh, it's Gideon. He's about to destroy us. You know, I mean, really, how did they know the name Gideon? And that only God told them. And God did that for Gideon to strengthen him, even though he took all his troops away, all but 200 away. He still, when we call on Him, will strengthen us, will encourage us, and encourage us especially with His presence. He is with you. And I am so grateful He is with me. So hopefully this has been an encouragement. And if you've hung out with me all the way through, I do appreciate you all. And I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.